Today on Dr. G Engaging Minds.
During challenging times, it's easy to slip into habits that can lead to addiction. Emotional eating can become overwhelming and unmanageable when trying to cope with stress.
And I never replaced the food. I just had to replace the urge with, oh my God, I have to sit here and feel this grief that I didn't get what I wanted as a child. I didn't get the job I want, whatever it is.
The former Queen of Mean, Lisa Lampanelli, shares how she manages her food challenges and maintains her dramatic weight loss of over 100 pounds.
Take your time, go slow, eat small amounts. See how it feels to not have to deprive yourself all the time.
We'll find out why Lisa made the choice to change her life and how she thrives during tough times through self-love. Hi, I'm Dr. G, and welcome to Engaging Minds. Our guest is Lisa Lampanelli. She's a Grammy Award-winning comedian, a storyteller, a performer, and an inspiration to millions of people. So, Lisa, I want to welcome you to the show.
Well, you know, I would love to go with the Grammy winning, but I actually...
Grammy Award
That's
nominated.
okay. I was nominated twice, so that counts as a win in my book.
Well, that works for me.
Yeah.
You got a show coming up. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, you probably know about 2 years ago, I retired from doing stand-up comedy and insult comedy. I just felt like it wasn't joyful for me anymore. It wasn't doing it for me. So I figured I'd quit before it quit me. So I decided to do a show where I literally had gotten trained as a very half-assed life coach. Like, I literally realized I'm terrible at it, but I'm great at giving advice. So I'm doing a show where it's me being interviewed by another comedian about my journey with food and weight loss and retirement and changing my life. And then I do some half-assed coaching with the audience.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really fun. So yeah, well, I'm doing that April 24th live streaming. And of course, since I'm a shameless publicity hound, go to lisalampanelli.com for tickets because I like to make money.
Yes. One of the things I was thinking about, Lisa, is a couple of years ago on my radio show, Engaging Minds on 790 AM, we actually had an interview. And in that interview, you talked about your transformation, your major weight loss transformation. And one of the things that you said to me that I found very inspirational, very touching, is you said there was a moment of change. So I'm wondering if you could share that moment with our audience.
Yeah, you know, I think anyone who gets weight loss surgery, does anything that extreme, it's sort of a buildup, but then there's that one thing where you go, okay, that's
a tipping point, right, that sends you over the edge, right?
Right. So for years and years, I had gotten sick of all the fat phobia out there. I got sick of all the insults. I got sick of, you know, not having as much energy as I could have had. And I went to see this bariatric surgeon that was recommended to me. And he did say to me, how many 70-year-olds do you see alive at your weight? And I'm like, well, not many. And if they are, they're not doing that well physically, meaning getting around, mobility, etc. So I was like, you know what? I'm practically there anyway. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, you know what I find so interesting? You know, like I said, I've worked as a bariatric psychologist for years, and especially around the bariatrics, I'm thinking of a client I'm dealing with right now. There is such a love relationship with food that the thought of, you know, losing a certain food, like she'll say to me, you know, I won't be able to drink soda. And I'll say, I understand, but you'll be dead if you don't stop this.
Well,
food.
You want to know though, there is that rebel in us that wants what we want. So I'm not supposed to drink soda. Look what I have.
I know, I tell her that too all the time. You know, a lot of patients get adjusted. Yeah.
Don't do it if you're not ready to get therapy about it, because it's a big change. And it's also just, where do your feelings go if they're not going into food? Point being, you just have to feel your feelings, but that's the hardest thing to do in the world. Like Jim Carrey, I was friendly with him for a little while, and he called it the United States of avoidance. We'll do anything except feel. And with COVID and with me not having food to go to, and I didn't want to do a lot of shopping because I didn't want to transfer addictions. I've never liked to drink, so that wasn't an issue. I've never liked drugs. I'm like, wow, I have to sit here and feel sad.
What's that experience like? I mean, it sounds like it's easy, but if you were telling our audience...
It's the hardest thing to do, and everyone will do anything to avoid sitting still, crying, feeling the feelings, and then you do it. You never cry. Nobody ever died from crying themselves to death. You never like dried up because you cried too many tears. So I think we all are afraid if we start crying, we'll never stop. And you always stop.
That's what I tell patients all the time, that the emotions will leave. You know, they're flighting. They feel like they're going to destroy you. They feel like they might kill you, but actually they won't. Right. And it is also about letting go of that best relationship with food. Yeah. So, you know, finding something that you could replace it with, a passion in your life. Like you're doing this transformation, this new kind of experience on stage. That's got to be really exciting for you. So,
well, yeah, but it does not replace food. I will say there will never be a love of my life other than food.
How does that feel to say that?
It's just the truth. And I think everyone who is, I don't even call it food addict, because I don't think you can get addicted to something that's necessary in life. I think you can overuse it. So I think it's basically where you go, okay, I have this primal relationship with food since I'm less than 1 year old. 1 minute old, you already want food. That's why it's so hard to conquer. And I never replaced the food. I just had to replace the urge with, oh my God, I have to sit here and feel this grief that I didn't get what I wanted as a child. I didn't get the job I want, whatever it is.
It all comes down to really dealing with emotions and feelings, and that's so difficult for an addict. With food addiction, I think a lot of times, and there is a controversy in the field whether there is the concept of addiction, but I find that, you know, it's about the sugar, the salt, the fat. It's about being uncontrollable with food. I've worked a lot with addicts in drug and alcohol rehab, and I can see the correlation so easily. Like they've just taken food and replaced it with that. So you have to actually get a healthy relationship with food. And you know what's great about that? If you do that with yourself personally, I think it spills out into other parts of your life. Like you've got to be willing to abandon yourself.
Yeah, and I think you've got to be willing to be uncomfortable, because we're so addicted to feeling comfortable all the time. Like if you don't have this in a second, the growth in discomfort is huge. And I mess up 50 times a day, and it's just uncomfortable. And I'll maybe win once out of 5 times with food. And I'm like, okay, well, at least it was once. But, you know, this is 10 years later. It's still a learning curve.
It's all a process, and we're all processing through, and we're all stumbling through it, including myself. But we can support each other. And if we're gentle on ourselves and not beat ourselves up, we'll probably have more success.
I think it's 100% self-forgiveness.
I agree.
Self-forgiveness. Because, okay, today I'll give you an exact example. I find a lot of types of food hard to tolerate, but I'm like, I don't care, because I'm going to eat them because I like them.
Yeah.
So today I had to run and use a restroom at a rest area. I see one of those pretzel places. I love those joints. So I get the thing. Oh, devour it. It was definitely 3 bites too many. And I paid for it on the way home. And I said, okay. So I have to look at that, not beat myself up, not be like, what a pig, what an animal. No. What a flawed, imperfect human being like everyone else. I may do better next time. I may not. So
yeah, and you also can use it as an opportunity to understand a little bit more about yourself instead of beating yourself up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, gain some insight. So again, Lisa, about the show.
Thank you. It's April 24th, live stream. Go to lisalampanelli.com. It is basically, it's a show called Sit Down and Shut Up.
I love the title.
Yeah, it's because I'm sitting
It reminds me of my childhood.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm sitting there. It has many meanings, many levels, that title. And it's me sitting down having a conversation about all these issues in a funny way. And a lot of the stories are really funny because, you know, if we don't laugh at this stuff, we die. So I've always made a good living as far as happiness when I'm making a point, but making it funny. So hopefully people will come and check it out.
Up next, The Experience. Dr. G turns the tables on Lisa.
I'm going to tell you a joke.
Oh, God.
We'll see what happens with that coming up.